What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Dub once again with another episode of C-Dub Outdoor. Today I'm not doing a gun review, I'm not doing a product review, I'm not doing a vlog. I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna do like a current events video. This world has gone crazy. At least this country has gone crazy. All kinds of stuff going on. You got cops killing people, you got people killing cops, you got riots, you got protesting, you got all kinds of crazy shit going on. I'm not going to talk about that as a whole, but the city I live in, Cincinnati, has experienced its fair share of riots, and there's a little town in Cincinnati called Bethel, or not in Cincinnati, but right outside of Cincinnati, called Bethel, Ohio. And there's something that happened out there that has stirred up a lot of controversy and a lot of talk. I believe it's even went on a national, on the nation's radar as far as media. So what I'm going to talk about right now is I'm going to talk about both sides to what the craziness is going on in Bethel, Ohio. First off, I'm going to start off with the people that were out there assaulting protesters, people that were chanting against the protesters. You're wrong, okay? There's nothing else to say about it except for you are wrong. If you believe in the Constitution as a whole, there's a thing called the First Amendment that's put in there, the very first one, and that's for freedom of speech. Okay, and that's for people to allow people to protest, to speak their minds, to gather in groups, and to let people know that they are not happy about what is going on in their city, in their country, all over the world. It's put in there for a reason, okay? The First Amendment was put in there so people could speak their minds. The people in Bethel that were chanting USA, USA, assaulting protesters, you are hypocrites. Okay, that's one of the biggest hypocritical statements you could have made, was to chant USA, USA over the top of these people, because that is exactly what the United States of America is about, is allowing people to speak their mind, allowing people to protest, allowing people to feel, or to let people know how they feel. That is why the First Amendment was put in place. So you standing out there assaulting people that were obviously not being violent, obviously weren't doing anything to deface property, people that weren't looting, people that weren't causing destruction, people that were just expressing how they felt about a current situation. You are wrong by assaulting those people. You are wrong for chanting USA over the top of those people, because that is not what the United States of America is about. That's my thoughts on the protester, the anti-protester, what do you call them, anti-protesters, I guess. But that's my thoughts on you guys. And I know a lot of people in Bethel, I know a handful of people in Bethel, and they're good people, and they're not racist. So don't let this small group of anti-protesters paint you a picture of what Bethel, Ohio is. Bethel, Ohio is a small town in Ohio, and most of the people there aren't racist, but they aren't ready for change. They're set in their ways. They go to the same stores every day. They eat at the same restaurants every day. They know the people in their town. And when people come in there speaking change, they see that as a threat, in my opinion. That's what I feel the majority of people in Bethel felt at this time. I can't speak for them because I don't live there, but that's what I'm thinking the majority of those people in that town are thinking at the moment. So to call that a racist town is a little bit ridiculous. Okay, those were a handful of people that were there assaulting protesters and chanting over top of protesters. That's a small, and probably a lot of those people didn't even live there. They just knew that the protesters were going to be there, so they showed up in force and wanted to make their presence known. All right, that's my thoughts on the anti-protesters and Bethel as a whole. So don't see them as racist people. Don't see them as, don't let these anti-protesters paint you a picture of Bethel, Ohio, because I know that there's good people out there and it's not like that as a whole. So now, on to the protesters. My thoughts on the protesters is, what the hell are you guys thinking? Okay, the reason for protesting is to have a voice and to be heard by people of importance, people in government, people in high positions that can actually make a change in this world. When you go to Bethel, Ohio, and you start a protest, you're not really doing anything for the cause, in my opinion, because there's nothing out there. It's rural America. You got farmers out there, you got small business out there, and when you're going to protest out there, you're really not doing anything for the cause, in my opinion. You're not at City Hall, you're not at the steps of the courthouse, you're not, you're protesting, but it's falling on deaf ears because there's nobody out there, I shouldn't say of importance, but there's nobody in the position that can actually change things for you. So in my opinion, if you go out to Bethel, Ohio to protest, you're basically just there to stir up shit. That's my opinion. And when you stir up shit and you make people mad, things are gonna happen. I believe there was also a rumor that they were gonna take down the flag and burn it or something like that. All rumors, no facts to those allegations, just rumors. So with rumors like that going around, it sparks anger, it sparks violence, because the people of Bethel, Ohio are obviously about their country and they're about living here and being happy. Most of them are peaceful people. So when you're a protester and you go to Bethel, Ohio, I'm feeling that it's not a good situation. Okay, that would be like the Nazi party going to the south side of Chicago and trying to have a rally in the heart of the city. It wouldn't go well. Definitely. There would be violence. People would probably die. And I believe if you do something like that and something does happen, it'd be like, hey, you dug your own grave. You knew where this was going when you started it. When these protesters decide they're going to go to Bethel, Ohio, there's no way in hell that nobody thought that something like this could happen. And honestly, I think they came out, I shouldn't say unscathed, but they came out a lot better than I thought it would. Yeah, there was people that had some bumps, some bruises. There was somebody that got hit in the head by some weak ass sucker punch that the guy just stood there and took it like, hey, I was assaulted. You came out on top, all right? You made your point in Bethel, Ohio, which I really don't think anybody cared that you were there, except they saw you as a threat. That's the only reason why I believe violence was there. That's why I believe anger was there. People, when they protest, need to plan these things a little bit better, because you're putting your fellow protesters in harm's way when you do things like this. Like I said, you want to go to City Hall, you want to go to the courthouse, you want to go places where you can actually be heard and make a difference, and there isn't going to be a response like that. Okay? Except when you're throwing bricks at cops and stuff like that. It's a different story. We won't talk about that. But peaceful protesting is part of the United States. It's part of the Constitution. And yes, I do believe that the people that went and protested in Bethel have that right. Of course they have that right. Everybody should have that right. But at the same time, know where you're protesting and know the possibilities of violence and repercussions of your actions. All right, that's my thoughts on the protesters. Now let's talk about the police officers in Bethel. There's probably 10 of them, okay? And I saw a lot of hate on social media. Why didn't the officers do it? They just stood there and let these things happen. Okay, first of all, like I said, there's probably like 10 of them. All 10 of those police officers probably knew 90% of those people that were the anti-protesters, and they live with them and they live amongst them, and they have to go to work with them, they have to sit down and eat with them. So I'm sure if things got really, really bad, the officers would have stepped in and did something about it. But at the same time, they're going to let a lot of stuff slide because they have to live with those people and they don't want to be seen as the bad guys of the situation. Also, they gave the protesters fair warning, like, you guys should probably leave. I heard in the video, like, you guys should probably leave. This isn't a good idea. You know, shit's gonna go down. Gave them warning that shit was gonna go down. And I guess I do have some type of respect for the protesters for standing the ground, but if you're gonna stand your ground, expect shit to happen, okay? That's my thoughts on the whole Bethel, Ohio situation. I love my city, I love my state, I love my country, but there's a lot of shit going down that I don't love. And I don't understand why we can't all, sounds, you know, Rodney King, why can't we all just get along? It's the truth. And there's always going to be bad seeds, there's always going to be bad people, there's always going to be evil out there. But we have to fight against that evil. And there's going to be racism out there. There was a comment saying, because I made the statement that, you know, why do you go to Bethel, Ohio when you know that there's going to be, you know, hostility? And somebody made the comment, what about in the 60s in the South with lots of hostility? That's because it was everywhere you went in the 60s. In the 60s, it was, you can't even compare the 60s to now, because in the 60s, that hostility, that anger, that, you know, that rage was everywhere in the South. Everywhere in the United States, but a lot of it in the South. So to compare the two is pretty ridiculous. You can avoid that situation. In the 60s, it was really hard to avoid that situation and make your voice heard. So, like I said, to compare the two is pretty ridiculous. Protesters these days, I just believe that they need to keep it peaceful. I'm all about protesting. When you get into looting and rioting and stuff like that, I understand the anger. I understand that you want to be heard, but you also have to maintain control so you can be taken seriously. That's my thoughts. So I know this was a little bit different video. It's kind of not a rant, but it's definitely my thoughts on the current situation. Because people outside of Cincinnati are like, what's going on with your city? You know, what's going on with these towns? And I'm just like, well, now I'm telling you. These are my thoughts. And let's keep it peaceful. I wish we could just all love each other, but that's never going to happen, unfortunately, because there's always going to be evil. And the best thing we can do is fight the evil together as one. And Bethel Ohio is not evil, okay? They're not evil people. It's just a small group of people that gave it a really bad image at one point in time. That's what I'm telling you. And I think America needs to get back on its feet. I think we need to get back to sporting events. I think we need to get back to live concerts. I think a lot of people need to get a hobby because there's nothing else for them to do except for be on social media and hate. So get off social media, but watch this video first, and then get off social media. Go hang out with your family. Go spend time with your family. Go hang out with your friends. Go do something fun. Something that makes you happy. Something that puts a smile on your face. Love each other. Hope this video does something for you. Take it as you want it. I don't care. These are my thoughts. People asked for them, and I was sick of answering question after question, so I just put on one video. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. You guys are awesome. We're almost to 500 subscribers, which is excellent. Can't wait. I know it's not that many compared to a lot of channels out there. So do me a favor, hit the like button, thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'm out.